Good evening. It has been a challenging and tough journey for everyone involved in clearing the migrant workers and the dormitories. And I want to start by thanking all our frontliners who are involved in this very extensive operations. They have worked very hard and we are finally reaching the last stretch. By the first week of August, say around 7th August, we expect to clear all our dormitories, with the exception of a few blocks within the dormitories that are still serving as quarantine facilities. These are 17 standalone blocks in the purpose-built dormitories which will serve as quarantine facilities. Other than that, we expect to clear all the dormitories by the end of the first week of August. This also means that the vast majority of migrant workers will also be cleared by that time. By the end of that first week of August, we expect that there will be some workers who will be completing their isolation periods. We are looking at a last batch of about 28,000 workers. They would have completed their isolation periods toward the end of the first week of August. We will do a final COVID test for them, and we hope many of them will be negative and so they can resume work. Some of them may still test positive even after that. And as those of you who have been with us on this journey know that we do not just stop at that one test, because if they test positive, then you have to repeat the isolation cycle. So there may be some who have to repeat the quarantine because they test positive, but that would be the minority. Essentially, by the 7th of August, we expect to clear all dormitories and the vast majority of migrant workers. And thereafter, we will be working very closely with all the companies who are engaging these workers to allow them to start work and to allow work to resume as soon as possible. So we would expect companies to be getting ready even now for their workers to be cleared, so that by August, when the vast majority of workers are cleared, the companies themselves will also be ready with all their safe management practices at the work sites and will be able to resume work as soon as possible. That's on the dormitory front. In terms of the community, we also need to continue to keep watch and stay very disciplined, as you heard just now. We want to remind everyone to uphold socially responsible behaviors, going to see a doctor if you are sick, but also remembering to uphold all the safe distancing measures that we have highlighted. We have observed some areas where there have been more people gathering in recent time, particularly in the beaches and the parks over the recent weekends. Last weekend in particular, perhaps because that was the start of the school holidays, so we saw more people gathering there. And that's why we are stepping up our checks, we are stepping up our enforcements, and we are also putting in place enhanced control measures at these popular places. For example, monitoring the people who are entering the beaches or the parks, and where it comes close to capacity limits, we will proactively stop people from going in, and we will also close the car parks that are serving these popular areas. So these actions are being taken at some of these public spaces. We are also continuing to watch very closely the popular night spots where people gather for dining. Name the night spots that you frequent, whether it's Holland Village, whether it's Dempsey, whether it's Robertson Quay, whether it's Circular Road. Our officers, safe distancing ambassadors are deployed, and enforcement officers are deployed regularly to monitor and to take enforcement action where necessary. So over the last week, we had to issue suspension notices and fines against 2 F&B establishments along Circular Road. That's Try Again and Los Amigos. They are closed for dining in, and their establishments were also issued with fines. Because of breaches of safe distancing measures, because they had more than groups of more than 5 people gathering there. And this was done even after warnings were issued to these establishments. So that's the approach, as we have said, we will take. Again, we call on all business operators, all F&B operators to do their part and take the safe distancing measures seriously, because our safe distancing ambassadors, our enforcement officers are on the ground, and if they were to pick up any breaches, then swift enforcement action will have to be taken to ensure the safety of all their customers and all Singaporeans. And that's why it's in the interest of business owners and operators to really take these measures seriously. Finally, if we look at the overall situation, with the dormitories being cleared, the workers being cleared by the first week of July, largely, with the community situation under control, we can expect our overall cases, the daily cases that we report every day, to come down by around the middle of August. You won't see these large numbers anymore because we would have largely completed the clearing of the dormitories. But I must again remind everyone, just because the case count comes down, that shouldn't be a reason for us to go out to celebrate and to, have a big party. Again, remember, this fight is not over. It's still a long way to. There's still a long way to go. On the community front, we have to be vigilant. We need everyone to cooperate, be disciplined, and as I said, we will monitor the situation on the ground, and enforcement actions will be taken swiftly where necessary. Even for the dorm cases, while we may have cleared all the workers and the dormitories by August, we will, as I've highlighted before, continue to put the workers on regular and routine testing. As they go back to work, we continue to monitor them very closely at their work sites and in the dormitories, and we subject them to routine and regular testing. And we do expect, from time to time, cases may emerge. As you already see today from the migrant workers who are in the community, that you see a few cases emerging every day, in the teens or sometimes in single digits, but these cases do emerge, and we certainly must expect such cases to emerge from the migrant workers in the dormitories, even after having gone through a very comprehensive and rigorous clearance process. They may be older infections, and that's okay, but sometimes it may be a new infection, and that's the one that we are very concerned about. So we will still pay very close attention to this whole area, the migrant workers who are in the dormitories, as well as the construction and construction-related sectors for which we have identified to be of higher risk. And if we detect and through our regular testing, identify any positive case, we will have to go in quickly, again, do our usual operations, ring-fence the area, stop work even, and then do a sweep and aggressive testing around all the close contacts. So for the contractors who are very keen, and I'm sure eagerly waiting to resume work, and they can do so very soon, I would also remind all of them to take the safe management practices very seriously. Make sure that they put all these measures in place as they prepare to resume work. Because if there is a new infection found amongst their workers, they may very well have to be prepared for the entire work process to stop for a while we do all the testing and sweeping up of the close contacts that's necessary in order to prevent large clusters from forming. So again, this is something we constantly remind everyone, but it's important that all of us take these measures seriously so that we can keep COVID-19 at bay while we progressively reopen our economy and society. Thank you.